Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very good evening. Welcome to the live Real Talk. My name is Faisal Kassim, and tonight we are talking about something that the President of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, has already declared a national disaster. We are talking about the drought that, according to The Guardian, which is an article published on the 15th of this month, said at least 2.1 million Kenyans from approximately 23 countries, they risk starvation. And of course, the same article states that at least 9.6 billion Kenyan shillings for food interventions needed. This is in reference to the UN Food and Agriculture agencies that had a session, and they're yet to meet again in 5 weeks' time in the UK to discuss matters climate. And of course, part of the agenda is how they can intervene for as far as climate is concerned to assist Kenya from the perennial drought menace. Joining me tonight in studio to discuss this topic and delve much into it is none other than Dr. Asha Mohammed, who is the Secretary General of the Kenya Red Cross Society. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much for making time for us this evening, Dr. Asha.
Thank you for having me as well.
Yeah, Dr. Asha Mohammed, the situation in the country as we speak, it is now a couple of days right now since His Excellency went out and announced the drought as a national disaster. You are a fast responder and leading a group of fast responders in this case. How would you describe the situation on the ground right now?
I would say the situation is bad. And as you've said, yes, the last report actually said 2.1 million people are affected in actually 12 counties, which means that the population of this 12 counties are going through quite a bit of a challenge now with the drought situation in various ways. The counties that are affected, of course, are in the semi-arid and arid areas. So already having had some harsh conditions in the last year finds them quite vulnerable. So there is a lot of need, and actually we would say there are people who need urgent support.
What exactly some of the stuff that are needed most urgently at the moment from your own research and feasibility studies on the ground?
First and foremost, there's a question of food, because many people are not able to find food in terms of, let's say, those who are even farming, but also majority, of course, are keeping livestock, and some have actually lost them. Some have them in conditions which are actually deteriorating. So food is critical, but along with food, we are also advocating that people are given cash where there are markets. So in areas where there are markets, it's better to give them cash, and they can be able then to buy the food that they need. But where there's no market, then we have to give food in kind. The other issue is water. And water is really, really critical at this point in time, both for human consumption, but also for the livestock. Yes.
Okay. The Guardian quoted you to have said that people can access food, but again, the problem is the purchasing power is a key problem in that.
Yes, not all the people, but that's why I said for those who cannot afford, then they would actually be assisted by giving them cash. So we are already giving cash transfer. The government is also giving cash transfer to some of the communities. Then they can be able to access the food.
Okay, thanks so much. Remember, you're also streaming live on YouTube and Facebook, and just to help our viewers understand more about what we are talking about, my director and producer for this show, Suleiman Nachas of Tumbo, was able to compile something that we can have a look, just to understand in a glimpse what exactly we are talking about for as far as drought is concerned. Suleiman.
President Uhuru Kenyatta on Wednesday, 8th September 2021, declared drought a national disaster. Speaking on Wednesday's meeting between the head of state and 85 leaders from Kenya's arid and semi-arid lands led by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani, the president has instructed the National Treasury and the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government to spearhead government efforts to assist affected households, including water and relief food distribution, as well as livestock uptake. The government is committed to release a detailed drought response strategy in due course. Kenya Red Cross Society, led by its Secretary General Asha Mohammed, is conducting mitigation programs to help the affected counties. According to the Secretary General, over 2 million people have been affected by drought across the country. The most affected counties include Turkana, Garissa, Wajir, and Marsabit. Other affected counties include Isiolo, Tana River, Kilifi, Lamu, Makueni, Samburu, Laikipia, and Mandera. The Red Cross Society is committed to distributing food items and cash transfers to a number of affected families. The society is also rehabilitating broken water boreholes and constructing new boreholes to help solve water shortage. Nechesa Suleiman, Horizon TV.
Thanks so much, Suleiman Nechesa Tumbo, for that good glimpse, yet very comprehensive, covering all the most important aspects of this pandemic as you're talking about. Dr. Asha Mohammed, did you ever, as strategic as you are, you are in record, of course, in national television before, saying that you had a contingency plan for the drought, you have a contingency plan for the upcoming 2022 general election. So from this, we tend to understand that at least you are strategic and have foresight, a visionary kind of a leader, for that matter. Did you predict this drought with this magnitude that it has come with?
I would say the signs were there and the prediction was given. Our colleagues in the meteorological department from last year clearly started giving information to say we will have depressed rainfall, and we saw the season of October, November, December last year was depressed. We also got prediction to say that next year, which is this year, 2021, March, April, May is also going to be depressed. So as a society, we work very closely with the Met Department, but we also have climate scientists within the organization, and we follow these trends. We also do our analysis. We also work with other Red Cross societies in the region, and it was clear that the region, Kenya included, was headed, for this drought disaster.
From your prediction and your analysis and your focus and projections, did you ever foresee that it would come with the magnitude that it has hit the country right now, until to an extent it's declared a national disaster?
Not necessarily, because one of the issues, of course, we always hoped is that with that prediction, some of the mitigation measures would actually have been put in place much earlier. But because we did not probably do enough interventions, then of course it meant that many more people actually found themselves in this situation.
Do you share analysis with, for example, your counterparts in the government or government? Because as Kenya Red Cross, you are a national society in this case, and established by an act of parliament.
Yes.
So basically, you are meant, or in an ideal situation, you are working hand in hand. As you have seen, we have seen you are working hand in hand with the government. So do you share some of this information, analysis, and reports to the government?
Yes, we do. First and foremost, actually, it's government that has, first of all, the responsibility actually to do this analysis and to inform and to coordinate. So, and that's why we work, for example, with the Met Department. We work with the National Drought Management Authority that also has been giving the reports after the assessments that they regularly do. And we also complement this from what we are seeing on the ground, because we have volunteers in all these communities. So when we begin also to see some of these effects, so we share this together, and then we are able then to say, okay, every institution or government itself starts to look at its own strategy to see how we can actually intervene.
But intervention, for as much as intervention for this menace kind of natural hazards are concerned, we rarely see some of these people, of course, from the onset. The first responders, you only see the red jackets, all these, even from what you've been looking around, the intervention, the support, immediate support. In this disaster case, in this drought case, we are seeing the Red Cross, the government. Someone would ask, we're paying a lot of taxes. They're being reviewed every now and then. Where are they? We cannot see them. We cannot feel them.
No, I think maybe not totally correct in that sense to say that the government has also been responding, especially at county level. And for us as an organization, we are auxiliary both to national and county level, but we work a lot with the county level governments. And I can tell you many counties where we have been even going out together with the governors to actually see the situation and then trying to find ways of working together, because we must also accept that no one institution, not even government alone, will ever have enough resources to deal with this problem. And so we come together, and we as the Red Cross will always say, this is what we'll bring to the table, and then of course government will also put what they do. I think we've seen a lot of activities now that have happened, especially water tracking, food distribution. We sometimes also distribute on behalf of government when we are given the food. But I think the challenge we have as well is really, how do we show the totality of the response? And this is where I think sometimes maybe people don't get to see the bigger picture. Now, as we speak, after the declaration of drought being a national disaster, the government has put together a multi-sector coordination committee, which I think is commendable and is a good idea, because there we'll be able then to see, you know, what are the needs in totality, and then everybody's contribution is then factored into this bigger response. Working
as a unit,
yes.
Multi-sectoral kind of response.
Yeah.
Good. Drought as a disaster, it's not a new phenomenon. We had among the worst ones that hit us at least 2 years back in 2019, right? And it has been something that has been recurrent. In your own opinion, from where you sit, why do you think we're still having this thing coming over and over again, recurring, over and above being a natural hazard that's uncontrollable? In your opinion, why do you think it's happening?
Let me first start by saying we'll have another drought. It's for sure. Allah knows better, but yes. And maybe it will even come sooner than we have had it before. If you look over the years, we used to say, well, it will take another 10 years before we have a drought. We have seen now the period is shortening. Every 2 years we are having drought. So this is something we have to first of all acknowledge is here with us, and is going to be even more frequent and even more severe, because the predictions are clear. Climate change, and everybody is looking forward to the conference coming in November in the UK. But the information is there, the data is there, the signs are there. The challenge I see from where we sit, and this is something we are also reflecting on and trying to also change as an organization, is that we are very reactive. So we have all this information, we have all this data, but sometimes we don't intervene until we begin to see, you know, some of the signs that everybody talks about. Unfortunately, even our partners who support us, many are still not convinced on the concept of early warning, early action. And this is what, as an organization, we are advocating for. We are talking about even something like focus-based financing, which means you already have the forecast. It is clear that there's going to be floods, there's going to be drought. But why are we not putting the resources up front to mitigate, as opposed to waiting until we start to see the kind of images we see on media, to start saying, okay, livestock is dying, people are dying. Everywhere we get the question of how many people have died because of this drought. And I say nobody has died because of the drought, but one death is one too many. Why do we have to wait until we start to count how many people have died? So I think the reactive nature of responding to this kind of emergency, I think, is really what we need to shift and begin to think long term. And begin to prepare initiatives and interventions that are going to build the resilience of communities, so that we know drought will happen, but how will it find them? Will it find them in a state where they can be able to take care of themselves? And if they are affected, will they be in a position to bounce back as quickly as we can? Today we are talking about COVID and everybody is saying building back better. Why doesn't it apply for drought? Why doesn't it apply for floods? Why doesn't it apply for desert locust invasion? What do we need to do to ensure that when these disasters happen, communities can bounce back better? And this is really the focus where we as an organization today, we are doing a lot more of that. And we hope that, inshallah, in future, we have to do less of the response.
Wow, inshallah. Very great answer there. By saying that we're going to have another drought soon, is it the October to December one, which was the anticipated time for a bounce back? Because according to the weatherman, we were expecting at least short rains. Of course, according to the norm, we were expecting short rains between the periods of October, December there. But again, we are likely to experience another depressed rainfall, and hence high chances of extension of this drought is expected. So by saying we're going to have another drought, do you refer to this one?
Actually, no. What I mean is we're going to have another drought, probably to say in another year or 2 years.
A whole new episode.
We will have a new episode. But
Good.
You're right as well that because of the depressed rainfall that has been predicted, October, November, December, we actually as an organization, we are working for a period of until next year, because we are saying clearly communities are going to be affected. We are talking 12 counties, but it's clear even from what we have seen with our colleagues in the National Drought Management Authority, many more other counties, maybe even up to 23, which is almost half of this country, will experience these effects if, of course, interventions don't happen and if we don't get enough rainfall. The next rainy season is March, April, May.
Wow.
People will not harvest in March, April, May. They will harvest much later. So I think we are saying we are here for the long haul, and therefore, even as we do the immediate interventions today, we need to think a bit long term.
On that, I'm going to pick up just one thing before going back to the previous answer that I picked, another thing. You say the next rainy season we're going to have is in March 2022. What does that tell us about the food security in this country for the next couple of months? Is it another looming disaster?
It just means that the current situation where we are is going to get worse.
Wow.
It's going to get worse.
How do you prepare ourselves for that?
And that is the big question. So for us as an organization, we are looking at it on the two-pronged side. So we have immediate needs, like I mentioned, food, water, health as well. Let's not forget about health and all that comes with that. But we need to start looking at the longer term. For example, are we able to work on some of our water facilities that may have been broken down for one reason or another? We know there are facilities that were actually destroyed by the last floods. Can we get those repaired and running quickly? We have been to some of these counties, and what we have found is that you may have some water facilities, but they're running very fast on things like diesel, which means in the next few weeks they'll be breaking down. So are we able to change that very quickly and maybe put in solar? Because there's, alhamdulillah, a lot of sunshine in these counties. Can we use solar? Which means then that these communities can be able to continue to get this water for the next so many months. So I think it depends on also some of these long-term interventions, because if we're able to put this in place, then maybe then we can avoid or mitigate some of the effects that may actually happen in even some of the counties that are not counted today.
Interesting enough that with every answer that you give, you're preempting my next question. So you just mentioned about some of these sort of facilities that are there, and from our research, we understand that part of your intervention is that you have been upgrading and refurbishing some of these broken water facilities in those counties. Would you mind giving us figures and tell us how that project is ongoing?
First of all, what we've done is we've done assessments in these counties, and we have marked 56 water facilities that will need some kind of rehabilitation. And out of this 56, then we are sort of projecting some of the very strained areas to be able to start with. And already we have launched for some of them where we will, in the next few days, just go in and try to make a very quick intervention to make a difference. I'll give you an example that in some of the counties we found there's a lot of water, but there is no tank to store this water. So which means people are just coming and fetching even from the pipe, there's no tap. This same water is actually being used by the livestock. So the same place livestock are coming, the same place the human beings are drawing from, and the risk of contamination is also there. So in such a case, we are going in and saying, let's help with a water tank. We quickly put up a water tank where water can be stored. We put in taps so that people can come and take their water safe and clean, and then make some troughs for livestock to actually come in.
Good. Lodwar, as a county, for example, has one of the largest water bodies in the region, right? Is that from by piping and channeling the water? Is it part of your project? That is piping it from the.
Well, this is a bit of the, you can say, some of the things we should be looking for the longer term. And you talk about Lodwar, but actually, if you look at many of these counties in this region, this is also where the main rivers are passing.
Yes.
Tana River and others. Exactly. Yeah. So then the question is, there's so much water passing by here, but the community still can't get enough of this water, or they cannot get clean water. So are we able to actually take this water from these sources and put pipe extensions to the communities to be able to actually access the water? Can we also then ensure that it is clean water? Because this is also the other issue in terms of, yes, you can take water, but is it safe for the people to use? Today we have seen women and girls really having a difficult challenge there, because they go to the Tana River to fetch water. What happens there? There is a risk there, whether it's crocodiles. There is a risk on the way, 10 kilometers down to the river and back home. Many things are happening. And I think we believe we should start, first of all, with the resources we have in these areas and try to see how we can harness this. We get flash floods in some of these counties. It rains in Ethiopia, we get flash floods. It rains on the other side, we get flash floods. Are we able to hold this water when it comes, so that when there is a dry season, there is water for the livestock, there is water for people?
Harboring of the water, maybe you can create dams whatever, and the likes.
Exactly.
Doc, again, every answer you give, you're just leading me to, preempting me to my next question. And you mentioned about capacity building and building the capacity of this community to build their resilience anytime this drought menace or any other menace whatsoever comes. I suppose this is one of the mid-long-term strategies that you have?
Exactly.
As an institution?
Yes.
Exactly. So I want you just to hold on that, because I want you to tell us more about that when we come back, because you need to go and pay our bills. Always tell our viewers, in the media we get salaries when we get advertisements, so we cannot play around with advertisements. They say cheza na mshahara lakini usicheze na kazi. So we're going to take a short break. Suleiman Chest of Tumbo will get the adhan, and that is sponsored, by the way. And then after that we're going to get back and finish the conversation with Dr. Asha Mohammed, who is the Secretary General of the Kenya Red Cross Society. Please do not go away.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Uislamu ni dini yenye mpangilio ulio kamili na taratibu zake humpa fursa kila mja kuifahamu na kuelewa.
Muislamu yoyote lazima achukue jukumu la kuifahamu dini yake, kuanzia kwenye shahada, ashhadu, nakiri kwa moyo,
kisha usafi wa kimwili.
Hapo ndipo huanza safari ya kumwabudu Mola wake.
Usikose kujiunga nasi kila siku ya Jumamosi live kwenye kipindi Ufahamu Uislamu, ili ujifunze mengi usiyojua kutoka Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for keeping it live, Real Talk. We are honored to have the presence of the Queen Mother, Mama Africa, as she is referred within the circles of Red Cross, I suppose internationally, not just Kenya Red Cross, right? Yes. Thank you so much for making time for us once again. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
During the break, we're just having a conversation on the 56 facilities, water facilities that you have there. And my question to you, for as far as that is concerned, first before we go on building the resilience, is do you have projections in terms of numbers from the 2.1 or 2.3 million people that are suspected to be affected or to be starving in these counties, 12 counties, by rehabilitating these 56 water points or facilities? Then how many people are going to be alleviated from starvation?
So maybe just to say also the 56 facilities are not only in the 12 counties. They actually extend to the potential 23 in total that I mentioned that could easily fall into this category, because one of the things we are also looking at is preventing the remaining 10 or 11 from coming into this list. So some of the facilities actually are from this, these other counties. The 56 are also, you can say, selected from the assessment, but what we will be doing is actually we will select the most critical of them to ensure that we can make a quick intervention. So we'll be looking at which ones, you know, have the majority of people to be served, and we will start actually with those. So already, like I mentioned, we have seen some in some parts of northeastern which are quite strained. A lot of people, including people coming from other counties into the other county, livestock and all this. As an organization, actually, our immediate target is to support at least 500,000 of this 2.1 million. And this is what we will be aiming for the next few months.
For the next few months, you have specific timelines when you want to reach this target of 500,000?
Yes, until I would say March of next year, because the 500,000 is not just with one intervention, because then you can give water, but at the same time you need some health intervention. So we are looking at different kinds of intervention.
Good. Dr. How would you rate your intervention so far as an organization? Giving yourself a mark and a score, how would you rate your intervention? Well,
difficult to score, but to say that we have been responding since February, because we tried to use the information that was available. But for sure, we have not done as much as we would have wanted to do for different reasons. One, of course, the biggest issue is the resources. And I know this is a question every day. We get requests and everyone saying, yeah, we don't see the Red Cross here. Maybe we used to see the Red Cross more. And I keep saying yes, because the kind of resources we got in the past is not what we are getting today because of many reasons. COVID has hit us very badly. As an organization, our biggest supporters are the Red Cross societies of Europe, of America. Today, they are the ones that are worst hit by COVID. And not only COVID, even other emergencies. We've seen what's happening in America today. We've seen what's happening in Europe. We've seen what's happening in Australia. These are our partners. So which means that much more is being kept back home, and we have to, of course, manage with some of what we are still getting. Alhamdulillah, we still have a lot of goodwill from these partners. So as much as they are looking back home, they're still giving us resources. So resources have been the bigger issue. A lot of competing disasters globally. Afghanistan came in, and of course, that also affected. So we wish we can do better. We pray that we can do better. So we are having a long-term view to be able then to see what kind of support we can get, so that we can also work with communities to ensure that they did not get to the stage which we don't want, which is the famine. We do not want a declaration of famine.
Inshallah, we'll not get there. So for the viewers who are watching, you see, there is power in numbers at the end of the day, and there's always power in unity, as Allah says that His hand is with a united people. And we saw what happened the last time Kenya Red Cross came out and appealed and asked through the Kenyans for Kenya, Kenyans for Kenyans, right? Yes. Initiative, you know, that received a lot of goodwill from Kenyans. So in that case, for all our viewers who want to support and take part in this initiative, how do they reach?
First of all, I would say, yes, as an organization, we have different ways of getting support. If you want to send a cash donation, we have a pay bill, 10,000, and all you need to say the account, of course, will be the drought response. That will go direct to the organization. But we also have branches in all the 47 counties where people can actually go and give their donations. Just to say also that you've seen we are distributing a lot of food. This food is all from individuals. This food is all from communities. So we have communities that have come together. We have Parklands Mosque and Madrasa Trust. We have Last Resort. We have the Sikh community. We have the Hindu community. So people have already started to mobilize themselves, and these ones that I've even mentioned have been with us since last year during COVID, and they continue to actually give us food. So it doesn't have to be financial only. It can also be in kind. And even for some of these water facilities we are talking about, if somebody feels that they can come and pick one facility and say, what do you need? You need some taps, you need this, and they want to bring also in kind, very much welcome.
Wow, wow, thank you so much, Dr. Asha Mohammed, for that amazing. May I request, maybe, I'm going to be the first #1 ambassador on TV and Horizon TV. If you could get a list of what's required, and then maybe you could pick it up with my bosses and the directors, see if you could be playing some of those adverts. Sure. Of course, worth to mention that a consortium of Muslim organizations had a meeting earlier this week to discuss about intervention as well, Jamia Mosque being part and parcel of this institution. So inshallah, as you said, inshallah, we're going to be part and parcel of that. And for our viewers back there, you've had 10,000 is the pay bill number, right?
Yes.
Account is Drought.
Drought.
Exactly. Go to the M-Pesa right now. 10,000 is the pay bill number. Account is Drought, and take part in saving a life. Dr. in the interest of time, parting shot tonight.
Our sisters and brothers are having a difficult time. And my call is really to say, let's come together. Let's put whatever we can, and let's help them to be able to save lives and to be able to save their livelihoods.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Asha Mohammed. As you've heard there right now, our sisters and brothers are outside there, and they are really suffering. A hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that the Muslim Ummah is like a body. And when the finger is in pain, then the whole body is distressed. So we have a number of them who are outside there, Wajir, Garissa, Mandera. Out of 12 counties, I can roughly estimate that at least 6, 7, 8, 9 might be counties that are affected with Muslim. And they are our brothers and sisters. Some of them, they've lost their livestock, others are suffering, others are struggling to make a living. Come on. You're sleeping tonight comfortably in your bed, comfortably having your family. Someone outside there is really stressed. We have to get the next cup of water, the one that I'm having right now in the studio. Someone is stressed about getting this. Would you let them die like that? Would you? Come on, gotta do something. 10,000 is the paybill number. Account is Drought, and visit the Kenya Red Cross offices and see how you can be part and parcel of the intervention. My name is Faisal, Kassim, and this has been the Live Real Talk. See you next week, same time, as we will be tackling yet another topic that you want to listen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.